What's up, Travis? You ready to rock? We're about to get started. Ready. You good?
All right. Good morning. Good morning, Sunrise team. Today we are going to be talking plumbing inspections, and my hope is that this is going to put more money in your pocket by applying a new principle that I'm bringing today to today's training. Everybody knows I love collaboration, guys, so be prepared. There'll be a section where I'm asking a lot of questions, and it's really just to get us talking and get us thinking. And then my goal today is to have one key takeaway that y'all walk away from. So we're going to go through positive focus. We're going to talk about core value. We're going to recap presenting options. We're going to do some plumbing inspection training today. There's going to be a little bit of a change up of how we do our plumbing inspections. We're going to role play, and then we're going to go ahead and conclude with one takeaway. So let's dive in. Let's just go ahead and start. Looks like Chris just walked in. Chris, can you share a positive focus you have happening this morning or this week?
A job to consistently come to every day. Not having to worry about how you're going to pay the bills.
Awesome. Love it, man. Dylan, what about you?
We bought a whole bunch of stuff for the nursery that we're going to put together this weekend. So excited for the baby.
That is really exciting, dude. I'm really, really happy for you. So that is cool. All right, Jordan, what about you, Jordan?
I'm excited to start a new job and be a part of a great team.
Good. We're happy to have you here. Go ahead, Mason.
Have a job to come to every day.
All right. That's that Devin next to you.
I woke up this morning. That's positive.
Man, y'all are taking all the easy ones today. Andrew, what about you?
Got a new truck.
Oh, yeah. What'd you get?
A Tacoma.
Nice, man. Congrats. That is positive. Mitchell, I can't see the rest of the people, so help me out.
This is Travis, go for it.
That's a bad attitude. Yeah,
Terrible. That's what I'm grateful for. Morning, Luke. Good morning, sir.
Go ahead and help me out, Mitchell. I can see everybody. Go ahead and call on the rest of the guys.
We're still waiting on Travis. Okay. All right, Luke, what do you got? What's your positive focus?
Just waking up this morning, having a job, being somebody who continue to have their job throughout this pandemic.
That's good.
What's your positive focus, Dan?
Calling on me. I love it. So my positive focus is no matter what's happening in our economy with the president, with the COVID-19 crap, all that stuff, I'm still healthy. I still choose to be happy every day. I show up and give my best self. So it's a pretty freeing feeling when you worry about things you can control. So that's my positive focus, man. It's just my outward look on life is it's very good. And I know that I can control my destiny no matter what. So I'm here, I'm ready to go. I'm excited to present this training today because my only goal is to make y'all more successful. So Mitchell, what's your positive focus?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. My positive focus is, focusing on controlling what I can control regardless of who's in office, who's the president,
you know, and still doing what I do regardless of all those external things controlling all the internal.
Awesome. Cool, man. Is that everybody?
Yes, sir.
We good? All right, let's keep rocking. All right, so our core value spotlight this morning is on leadership. I know leadership is a very broad word. Some people define it as many different things, but here at Sunrise Plumbing, we say in order to be a leader, you must take initiative. You must lead where you are, no matter what position you're in, and you must also do what you say you're going to do. So quickly, what is one way that we can show taking initiative in what we do every day?
Andrew, trucks, clean trucks.
Perfect. What's one way that we can lead where we are in a positive manner? What's one thing that we can do as technicians?
I mean, just showing up in uniform, which is, I mean, that's part of leading where you are. Yeah,
That's good. That's spot on. Then somebody tell me do what you say you're going to do. Give me an example of doing that just in your day-to-day actions.
What you got, Jordan?
Give me a sample. So say if you say you're gonna be here on time, if you're not here on time, you're letting your team down.
I love it.
It's good.
All right, there.
Yeah, I love that core value because we're only as good as our word. You know, we're only as good as our handshake and the things we say. I think goes a long way. So as a team, we all want to be leaders. We all are leading where we're at. And in doing so, that's taking initiative. So that's not having to be asked to do things. If you're the helper, you're the best damn helper. If you're there and you see an opportunity to help somebody else as a technician, you're helping somebody else. You see an opportunity to pick up some trash outside, you're picking it up and tossing the trash. It's small things, guys, that make us leaders. And keeping your word is a big part of that. So as a team, we should have the synergy together to be able to help hold each other accountable to what this looks like to be a leader in the company. And because I mean, really, it's tough when you have to always be telling people what to do instead of them thinking for themselves, seeing opportunities to better the environment, to better the office, to better the job that you're on currently. You know, that's what we need to be teaching these young guys coming up. It's like if you're doing a water reroute and, you know, there's insulation to be done, but he's standing out by the truck doing nothing. We got to teach these people that, hey, you see an opportunity to take initiative. That's what a leader would do. It's not me having to always point you around and do these different things. One of our core values is take initiative. So if you want to work here at Sunrise Plumbing, I want to see you taking initiative. I want to see you cleaning up the trash on the job without me having to ask you to clean the trash up or wiping down the work area. So that's what we should be doing as technicians, especially if we have helpers on our trucks. We should be teaching them the ways of our core values. So does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I could literally stop the training now, and this could be all the sales training you ever could need in your career. Seek first to understand. What does that mean?
You need to understand what you're talking about and who you're talking to before you can.
Okay, who was that? Dylan. All right, so how if you were talking to me and you were to seek to understand where I'm coming from, how do you do that?
You just talk to you, get to know you, make that personal connection. Yeah.
Who said that? Help me out, Mitchell.
That's Travis.
Travis, what'd you say?
I said, put yourself in their shoes.
Okay. So those are all right answers, but there's one I'm looking for. What do we do with our customers in building value? We
Ask questions.
Oh, ask questions.
ask questions. So always remember, seek first to understand. The only way we can do that is, yes, listen, show empathy, and ask questions. If we're missing that stage of stage 4, build value, and you're just going out to your truck and you're working up options based on what you want to give the customer, then you've completely missed the building value. You completely missed building relationships. So always remember, seek first to understand where they're coming from. Then, only then can you then seek to be understood, which means giving them your opinion, your options, whatever that looks like. So I love that quote. I wanted to share that with you this morning. All right. So 2 weeks ago, we had a session. We role played presenting options. That's going to the table, use your gratitude statement, present your options, ask the customer to choose, and then being quiet. It looked kind of like this. You walk in the door after working up options. I have your customized options ready. Do you mind if we go to the table to discuss? Right there, customize, that word tells me that I listened to them and I went out and I didn't work up generic options. These are specific to what the customer told me he or she wanted. I sit at the table. In my own words, I say, thank you for choosing myself as your plumbing professional today. It means a lot to me, and I can reassure you that all your work will be done with quality and care. Somewhere in building value, somewhere when I was seeking to understand that person, they told me quality and care was important. So what did I do? I reassured them today that all my options meet that. But I also, when I say thank you for choosing myself as your plumbing professional today, I made it personal, and I also assumed that they were buying from me today. That's called the assumption close. I'm already assuming that they're buying from me today because I've gone through the relationship building. I've done all that work. Then I say, here are your customized options I worked up for you. Then I reassured them all the options meet your needs, wants, concerns. So in that building value, I figured out what do they need, what do they want, and what are their concerns. So I'm reassuring them again. And then I say, here's the best option first. Here's a better option. Here's a good option. Which one do you want to go with? So I shut up. At that point, the next person that speaks loses. I don't keep rambling. I don't do anything else. I just be quiet. So did anybody try this the last 2 weeks? Anybody change up their technique? Did it work? Did it not work? Mitchell, go ahead and get somebody to share something. Anybody want to share anything about presenting options?
Go ahead, Travis.
Well, I mean, I tried it.
Speak up on you so we can hear you.
I've been trying it, but one of the things I ran into yesterday was when I asked if they would like to sit down. She said no, I'd like to stand. Is that like that's something I did, or is that just you're just gonna get that?
Yeah, so that's not a big deal. I mean, if the customer says no, I want to stand, then just stand with them.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to get them all to sit down. I mean, sometimes you're going to present outside, sometimes, but the ideal situation is that we sit down and get comfortable. So Travis, if they said that, there's probably one or two reasons. Either their house is a mess and they don't want to go sit down, or maybe they just didn't feel comfortable doing that. I mean, it could have been building a relationship. Did she buy from you or no?
She did.
Okay, awesome. So it's probably just the fact that she didn't want to sit down.
Okay.
Yeah. If she didn't buy from you, I would probably say that maybe you didn't build enough relationship with her or enough value, but it sounds like you did. So I wouldn't worry about it. Not every customer is going to want to go to their table. And not every situation is going to call for it. Like if you're looking at a sewer stoppage in the yard, you're probably not going to ask to go inside and sit at the table if all your work's going to be outside. You know what I mean? All right. So does anybody have any questions on this? Any concerns? Anything else before we move on to our new training?
That was a good question. I don't think we have any questions, do we? All good?
No, that whoever speaks first loses. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true.
I've been putting that to work.
It's
I've
seriously
done
true.
that for like a couple of years now. We just let them, say nothing.
It takes a little bit of discipline, don't it?
Yeah.
Because you want to say something.
You just gotta look at them like they're stupid.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's got to be practice patience.
Yeah, it's super awkward. It's super awkward. Like sometimes you're like, oh my God, like what's like 5 seconds pass and you feel like it's like 5 minutes, but you got to remember like the customer's not always thinking about what what they're going to reject you on. Sometimes they're thinking about, do they want to put it on a credit card? Do they want to pay cash? When do they want to do it? You know, so they have all these things going on in their head. They got to take their kid to school. They got to pick them up. You know, so that's why it's so important for you to be quiet and let them ask the next question or confirm that they want to go with the repair. Now, if they ever, this is next level training, but if they ever say they want to pass, then you got to ask, that's when you start asking questions. Well, why are you passing? If they say price, well, what was your expectations? I mean, there's so many questions that, you know, first no doesn't have to be no. And that'll be our next level training we do in level 3 is overcoming some objections.
I don't want to feel like I'm like begging the customer. I'm not, I mean, at the end of the day, it's their money they're spending. I don't want to sit there like I'm begging for them to buy.
You don't necessarily have to be like begging, but what you're doing is you're getting feedback. I think me and Travis talked about this week. Just getting feedback, just trying to understand why they, you know, don't want to buy or what it was. How can we can improve? We're not really begging, we're just getting feedback.
Yeah, remember in our training before, we talked about serving over selling. So as long as we're asking questions and they're telling us what they want and we're providing options based on that, then we're not pushy salespeople. They're going to buy from somebody. But sometimes if you just ask, well, why not? Or what's going on? Or what are you thinking? Sometimes it's just one little small thing. And sometimes they're like, well, if you just adjust this a little bit, if we can meet in the middle and you come down $50, I'll do it. And so instead of losing the job, you're able to call Joe and say, hey, this customer wants to go down $50. Can we do it? Or if you have approval to call that, you know, sometimes it's just that one extra question, but we definitely never want to be pushy salespeople. We never want to corner anybody into the sell. But a lot of times that first no can be negotiated, you know, and sometimes it's just, hey, I don't have the time to take to do this today. And then at that point you're like, well, I can come Saturday and do it if you're off Saturday, and then you can start to negotiate it. So always remember that I'm never going to teach or train anybody to be pushy salespeople. We're just listening and providing options that they want. That's it. Okay. All right, so new standard. Somebody help me understand why, as Sunrise Plumbing technicians, we run the new standard.
There's consistency in everyone that shows up to the house.
So it's kind of for each technician, so they know what to.
You're gonna get the same quality tech, no matter who you get out to your house, whether that's Chris, Andrew, Devin, Mason, myself, Jordan, Luke.
Perfect. Yeah, consistency is the key, guys, and ultimately more money in your pocket, because we know by doing this system, we're going to create that experience. The customer's going to want to call us back time and time again. So, overview, prepare for your day. I'm going to go through this fairly quick so we can get on to asking some questions about the plumbing inspections. But preparing for your day looks like clean uniform, charge iPad and phone, good breakfast, good night's sleep, clean truck, showing up to the shop on time, having a clear, positive perspective for the day. If you don't, talk to somebody. Let's shake it out, guys. Not every day do I feel ready to rock and happy and like, oh, everything in my life's perfect. Sometimes I need to talk to people, get a little encouragement, you know, get a little pep in my step. Arrive at the job on time. What does that look like to be on time at Sunrise Plumbing to your first job?
Getting there at 9 o'clock.
Okay, by 9 o'clock.
Working on the right side of the
It's
road.
also part of your appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, part of the appearance, 9 o'clock, park on the right side of the road, walk the sidewalk, introduction, wear your shoe covers, your mask, do your thing, knock, step back. All that's part of what we do here. How do we introduce ourselves as a plumbing professional at Sunrise Plumbing?
Hi, my name's Dylan, and I'll be your plumbing professional this morning.
Spot on. Thanks, Dylan. All right, so building value, number 4. Remember, guys, we go in, we break the ice, we make a connection. Sometimes we talk about something we see around, how nice it is, whatever that looks like, but we're always navigating to the repair. Remember, you should be spending, if you're there for 45 minutes presenting options, 30 minutes should be spent building value. Remember, all the meat happens here. This is where you seek to understand before being understood. And I know sometimes it's hard to get customer engagement, but it's very important that we get that customer engagement in step 4. We have our building value statement. We also qualify the customer. We've gone through all that training. We present options. So we're going to do our gratitude statement. We're going to go to the table. We're going to give the best option first, work our way down, present options, and be quiet. We're going to complete the work. Some great ways to wow the customer. Does anybody use like drop cloths or mats laid down before you work on an area? Got a few guys in here who may do that. I always highly recommend that, making sure you're protecting your work area, you're keeping it clean. You know, if we're cutting into sheetrock, we're doing nice clean cuts. We're able to make it look very presentable. Cleaning up, believe it or not, this is something that's, you know, takes us up to the next level, and a lot of different companies in the trades don't clean up very well. You could do the best job, you could build the best relationships, but if you leave a mess, you are going to lose that customer 9 times out of 10. You're going to get a bad review because the customers only see things like, how neat is your hole cut? Did you clean up? Did you caulk my toilet nicely? All these different things. They don't really know all the components of plumbing and how well you soldered the pipe or how well you glued the fitting or whatever. They're looking at how well you're respecting their property. So always remember that. If you're up in the attic, you're not leaving insulation trash everywhere. You're not doing all those silly things. It's very important in the cleanup stage. Educating the customer. Today we're going to talk about some areas to educate the customer in plumbing inspections, but this can be done at any time. I mean, we have it at step 8. It may be in step 4. It may be in step 3. It may be in step 5 if they're asking you questions. The new standard is not a perfect system. Every customer is different, but our job is to go out and educate people and to help make their lives better as homeowners in what they're doing. And then we have complete the experience, which is asking for the review, reassuring their happiness in what we're doing. So I'm curious for you personally, what step of the new standard do you typically do your plumbing inspection in?
What are we even doing?
Yeah, so I'm assuming if you're not doing it, then you're not doing it, and we're going to add that today. But if you are doing some inspections, where are you typically doing it in the new standard?
I would say this one through like the building value one, as I walk through the house, because they're talking to them, like a short little one, so that they're able to tell you what's wrong, what they think is wrong, shit like that. Then I can write it all up in the option form.
You hear that, Dan?
Yeah, who was that?
Devin?
So I usually do it in the building value one, as I'm like walking through the house with the customer, just because that's a time when they were able to basically vent to me about what's going on in the house, little things that could be going wrong. And then I always ask if there's anything extra that when we look at before I go out to the truck to rack up any options for.
Cool. So you do it number 4, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so let's dive into a few more questions here. So everybody got the piece of paper to take a few notes as we go through here, but I'm just curious. Let's just start with customer. What are some negatives or a negative to doing a plumbing inspection for the customer?
Yeah, maybe they think, maybe some customers will think that you are trying to sell them something.
Okay, so how do you respond to that when they say that?
What's up?
I mean, something
I'm just straight up honest with them, it's 100% free, it ain't cost me nothing. Come here and get the water heater, just let you know, hey, it's gonna blow up soon, or no, it ain't, it's good. I mean, I just put it out on the table, simple as can be.
Okay, so you reassure them that it's free and it's not going to be a high pressure sale or anything?
Yeah, they don't have a professional plumber at their house every day to look at this.
Okay. All right. So, so they feel like they're being upsold. Any other negatives to the customer besides that?
They're gonna think you're trying to waste their time.
Maybe being invasive, a little too invasive.
Okay.
And some people are real private, like
Yeah.
The problem's not over there, they don't want you walking through their house.
They don't want you seeing their marijuana stash and stuff.
That's exactly.
Yeah, so it goes back to that conversation we had earlier, guys. Like that lady not wanting to go to the table. We can't force that. You know, if we talk about, hey, you're as part of your job today, you know, we include a plumbing inspection, so that'll be done towards the end or the beginning or whatever it is. The customer said, hey, I don't want you walking through my house, not at all. Then you're not going to say, well, it's part of my job, I have to do it. You know, at the end of the day, they're still the homeowner, it's still their privacy. So we can't win every one of these, but it's good that we're talking about it. So what about for the tech? What's a negative for you, the technician, and going through and doing a plumbing inspection?
I guess if you,
Save time.
yeah, I guess if you don't end up selling anything, then it's a time away from the day.
Okay. How much time does it take to do a friends and family plumbing inspection?
I guess it depends on how much.
From there, you can swing through one in about 15 minutes, or you can take your time and you can spend an hour looking at it.
Okay. All right. What about for the company? Any negatives for the company whenever you're doing a plumbing inspection?
Well, just that tech out on the job a little longer than,
Well, it also builds more sales opportunities later down the road too.
It really does. I don't see a negative for the company when it comes to inspections.
That's reassuring the customer that you're there for them also.
Yep.
Yeah, really the only negative of it is if we're not trying through it. You know, if we're just going through the motions just because we have to, then that's negative for you, for the company, for the customer. You know, like last thing I want to do is go through an inspection and not catch something because we weren't looking. And then it floods the customer's house and they say, well, so-and-so was out here. He did a plumbing inspection. He never said anything about it. You know, so if we're going to do it, we got to make sure that we're going to go through it thoroughly and really spend the time with the customer. So next question I have is, would you personally want a tech of any trade going through your home and doing a plumbing inspection, or I'm sorry, going through your home and doing any kind of inspection? Would you personally want that?
Honestly, yes, because I know absolutely nothing about AC or electrical. If I had a tech there that can tell me something and educate me, even if I don't get it fixed, at least he's educating me.
Anybody disagree with that? Anybody private and wouldn't want somebody going through their home and doing that?
I'd like to know why some of my outlets work and some of them don't.
No kid.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool if an electrician came to your house, was like, hey, part of your service today, I'm going to go through and check everything for you? I would think that'd be pretty cool. I've never had an electrician do that in my house.
Well, hell yeah, look, you come with this and go get this and go get this.
Okay, well, the reason why I asked that question is sometimes as tradespeople, as tradesmen, we, you know, we don't offer things because we wouldn't have it done in our own home. So just make sure to separate that. If you have that perspective of we're not our customer, everybody's different. Some people don't want it. Some people will thrive on it. There's some personalities that will just eat this up. And so that's why it's always good that we talk about it. We let them know it's a part of their service to do an inspection. So I'm curious right now, currently, honestly, what percentage of your jobs that you're going out to that aren't specifically just for inspections, what percentage of your jobs that you're going out to that you're actually doing any kind of plumbing inspection while you're there?
Friends and family planning, right?
Just in general, right?
25%.
Yeah.
Not a membership inspection.
About 75.
I'd say about 25 to 30%.
Right, Dan, we're not talking membership inspections. We're just talking about.
Well, I mean, if you go out and you sell the membership because you sold it and you stay and do the inspection, that counts. But if you're just going out to do a membership inspection because it's up for renewal, then that's different. So.
Good morning, Ethan.
So is anybody doing that consistently more than 50% of the time, or everybody's less than 50?
Yeah,
Depends on the customer too.
Awesome. So this is going to be a good training today, guys. Great opportunity to put more money in your pocket as we go through this. So I'm curious, does anybody take the customer with them when they're doing the inspection?
Yes. So that's your bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, plus, I mean, if you're going to an area of the home that wasn't initially talked about, obviously you want the homeowner with you. That way it's kind of,
Like I said, it's still go down the road.
yeah, that way it's kind of covering your ass, if anything.
And it brings them up to date on their home, you know, they know how to shut off valves, you know, angle stops.
You can feed them more knowledge as you're doing it as well.
Okay. All right. So if you're not, I would encourage you to take the customer through the inspection. That just adds more value. Once again, educate the customer. It shows them that you are the professional. So when you do this, do you take the time, like if you see some opportunities, and even if the customer says, hey, I'm not too worried about it, do you take the time to present the estimates or leave them behind with the customer for the future?
So tell them they're not worried about it, I'm just leaving behind.
Yes, no, maybe so. You'll said if they're not worried about it, you don't.
I'm just leaving behind, that way they have them, but.
Yeah, I would treat this like it's your future work, you know, for a rainy day. So if you're there and you're going to go through the inspection and they say, hey, I'm not too worried about it, but you know it needs to be done, I would reassure them that you're at least going to give them an estimate for the future when it needs to happen, or they have an issue with it, they'll call you back and have you come back out there. So just remember, it's like you're building up your rainy day fund for, you just never know. And maybe a slow day at Sunrise, that customer calls back and said, hey, a year ago, Chris was out there. He gave me an estimate to replace my water heater. It's leaking now. I think I want to go ahead and go with that replacement. And you're like, gold, it was worth the extra 10 minutes to work the estimate up. You know, even though they weren't ready to do it then, just remember, you never know when that call is going to come back to you. So make sure that we're diligent there. Now I'm curious, does anybody, if you do an inspection, does anybody go through and bundle price to give a better deal for the customer if they see more opportunities to get more items in there? Dylan's saying yes.
Sometimes,
Yeah, or do something small for free.
Yeah, speaking of, there is a add-on button in Service Titan. Have y'all seen that?
With the ankle stuff and then that.
Yeah,
You're talking about in general.
we just went through there when we did the price changes, and they have real add-on prices. So that might be like a good bundle price.
so you click add on, the price will change.
Yes, check it out.
So if you do the payment thing now, is it still 120, or can you do it monthly now too? Because I know it was $9.99 for a minute, and I told you I was messing up in Service Titan, and I couldn't change it back to 120.
Oh, really? No, it's 120. We were just playing with it for a second, so if it said that, that wasn't ever official. If we change it, I'll let you know before we change it. Yeah, I was just going through it one day and messing around with it. Hopefully,
That would be cool. If we
Yeah.
could, like do a monthly, or like for smaller jobs.
Yeah.
We could just download and be like a monthly charge.
yeah, I actually have a meeting in Service Titan today on memberships and just looking at it. No guarantee what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna look at it and see what that's all about.
Yeah, so definitely never shy away from a bundling a deal with the customer. One show I love is American Pickers, and they're always in there bundling deals with people when they add more things they want to buy. You know, worst case scenario, call Joe and talk to him and say, hey, what do you think? But at the end of the day, if the customer knows that they have other issues going on, then it's going to be cheaper today if they do it while you're there, because we know it will be. Then sometimes customers want to take care of it. And the ideal situation is that you spend all day on one job serving your customer and they're extremely happy. So, and they're paying you well for it. So definitely don't look past bundling deals. So here's what we talked about earlier. How do you respond if a homeowner says they don't want to be sold more? They don't want to.
You're not here to sell them anything, you're just here to provide solutions.
You're here to serve, what was the question? You're here to service,
Right there, Travis, right there at the bottom.
Yeah. So how do you respond if the homeowner says, hey man, I don't want you to go through my house and sell me more crap. I get this thing. I don't want to be upsold. I don't know why you're always trying to sell me things and stuff like that. Like, how do you respond to that?
I'm not here to sell you anything, I'm here to provide you service for your needs.
Yeah. And do you have a story of maybe a customer who we didn't go through and visually inspect their plumbing system and they had a big issue that you could share with the customer? any experiences in the past you can lean on to influence them?
I did one yesterday, and I was in the water heater flush, and we installed, 2 water heaters that were 5 years old. Sunrise installed them, and I went to the attic, and I could smell the gas really bad, and so I went up there and I just sprayed for the heck of it. And
Yeah.
the gas supply line was never tightened up. It was just blowing gas out for 5 years straight.
Oh my gosh.
A gas split?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Sunrise
Was
installed
Andrew's
it.
name on it?
I don't know, somebody did it, but it was just like, it was good that I did that because that covered our ass, because if something were to ever happen, I mean, I'm glad I went up there and checked that out.
Yeah, I think you got a 5-star review on that too.
Wow, that was Devin saying that story?
Yeah.
Well, Devin, whatever you do, just leave the Sunrise part out of it. No, but that's a great story because once again, if the customer's saying that, you got to help them realize that, hey, we're here to serve you and we're here to check things for your protection and for your education. And if they don't want it, you can't force it. But if you tell a story like that, like, hey, I had a job where I went back and I inspected water heaters that were in there for 5 years, realized that they had a gas leak. I mean, you save that home from blowing up potentially. So that may change a customer's mind. They may let you go in and do the inspection. And at the end of the day, we can just leave some estimates behind. At least they can budget for the future. That's another thing to say is, hey, look, if I find things and you're not wanting to do them today, I'll leave the estimates. And that will allow you to plan for months or years down the road when you want to do it. So it's a win-win no matter what, as long as they don't feel like you're just trying to sell them.
Yeah, I like the peace of mind factor too. Just giving them a peace of mind. Just, that's why we're going through here. Just give you peace of mind, let you know where everything's at.
All right, so quickly jumping through here. I agree with that too, Mitchell. What are some benefits to the customer when we do a proper plumbing inspection?
Pointing out issues that may have previously not been known.
Peace of mind, education, preparation. If they buy today, they're going to save money, all kinds of different things. So what about for the technician? What's a benefit for us to technicians if we do plumbing inspections?
Lost money.
Repeat customer. Yep.
Okay, what about for the company?
More reviews.
Retaining that customer as a Sunrise customer.
Good stuff, man. Y'all are spot on. All right, all good. And then I'm just curious, this is the last question. We'll shift slides. What would happen if you did a plumbing inspection on every job? I'm about to share a new style of plumbing inspections, but if you had the time and the energy and the customer wanted you to do it, what would happen to to what you're doing daily if you did one consistently?
That average ticket would go up.
Okay. Awesome. I think so too. All right. So today here's where the training starts. I know we got about 20 minutes, so we're gonna rock and roll this thing, but I wanted to spark a conversation, kind of work through some positives, negatives of doing inspections. At the end of the day, we do a friends and family inspection. Today, I want to launch a new 5-point inspection that we can do on every job. So y'all be paying attention. This is something we're not going to have a form or anything fancy, but this is something that's really going to be productive for your pocketbook and for the customer and for the company. So friends and family plan inspections, plumbing inspections, what do they include currently? What are we looking at?
Walk around the home, check all the plumbing fixtures, water heater, pressure test.
Okay, so all the bathrooms, the kitchen.
That might be part of your.
Pressure test on home. We do that. Flush water heater.
You just do the pressure test, not the hydrostatic test?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think we just put a gauge on the hose bib, right, and check out how much pressure they have.
100%, it says takes you over for free.
What about a homeowner shut-off valve? Do we ever look for that in the yard?
It's buried on one floor.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I didn't really.
How much do we sell a homeowner shut-off valve in the yard for?
$1,000 minimum,
$1,000, 1,100,
15.
1,200, 1,500.
I don't know about y'all, but you know, when you have a flooding house and you don't know how to shut the water off, it's pretty scary, because trying to get the city or a plumber out there could be hours. So educating the homeowner on that too. Some of them don't care. Some of them really care. I mean, that could be an additional $1,200 added to your tickets just by educating the customer on homeowner shut-off valve. Once again, we're serving the customer because we know that's going to benefit them in the future. It's something that every house needs, and 99% of the houses either don't have it or they had it and it's rotted out. Another one, do we do any kind of like hardness strips, test the hardness of the water?
We're gonna start.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, I told Joe to get some tests, so.
Yeah, so I would just recommend those little bottles of the strips. You just run them through the water and it tells you what hardness it is. If y'all want to get fancier, we can, but that's a good starting kit. I want to say they sell them at Home Depot. Very easy to test hardness and educate the customer. And another added value, a lot of people don't realize that, hey, a lot of times they're having to replace their toilet flappers or fix faucets and different things because of calcium or chlorine in the water. And we know that in city water, both of those exist. Typically chloramines and calcium exist, and that's a whole nother training, but definitely recommend doing that. So if we are doing a 5-point inspection on every job, we're looking at 5 different things. What do y'all think would be the most valuable things to look at and the easiest things to look at?
Water heater,
Okay.
homeowner shut off,
Okay.
PSI,
All the emergency stops in the home. It's just a quick visual inspection. You gotta do.
Now remember, we're not going to be very invasive on this inspection. This could be something we could do passing by, you know, putting a gauge on the hose bib's easy, usually checking the water heater's fairly easy, and things like that. So here are some things I would recommend in a 5-point inspection. I'm going to leave options for you here, so I would jot these down. But once again, I go to any job. This is not friends and family members. This is just every other customer we go to. I would look at the water heater, just do a visual, open the door, check the date, educate the customer on it, talk to them about, if you're talking to them, you can talk to them about their hot water needs and things. PSI, that's pressure from the hose bib. We all know what's acceptable, what's not, why. Homeowner shut off valve in the yard, literally you pass it 20 times going to your truck on that job. So you could literally glance down and educate the customer on the homeowner shut off valve. Testing the hardness of the water is something that literally, if you had a strip, you could run it through and you could say, hey, Mr. Customer, here's why you're having to keep replacing your faucets. It's because you have, 20 grains of hardness in your home. Here's how we can fix it. Are you interested in talking about more? Different things like that. Because a lot of times we forget that, and it really helps the customers when we can talk about it. And then number 5, I would say, is open to whatever you want to look at. So it may be the emergency shutoff valves. It may be, there's so many different things, but I guarantee you, if you start looking at these 5 things on every job that the customer allows you to look at these 5 things, then, you're going to have more education for the customer. And a lot of times that leads to more sales and more money in your pocket doing these things. So any questions on that? Mitchell, you like it?
Love it.
All right. So remember, guys, I know y'all have a form for friends and family. Keep that form going. That's a friends and family inspection. This is a 5-point inspection. Keep a list of these things. You can do some, you can do all. But for now, we're not going to make a form, right, Mitchell? It's just going to be up to the technician to look at these things and provide estimates for the customer.
Right.
So that's the big value difference. If you're buying the friends and family plan, you're going to get a written inspection of your home system. If you're, not, we're still going to do a 5-point inspection. But you're not going to get the formal form. So does anybody have any questions on that moving forward? Okay. Mitchell, are we doing anything different? If they sell a friends and family plan, can they stay and do the plumbing inspection, or do you want them to stay and do the inspection? Is that going to change?
Yes, so, ideally, we want to do the inspection while we're there. So, no better time than present, so. if you-
But I mean, if they're paying for a year of it, why wouldn't we, like, are we only gonna go out there that one time for the inspection? Cause I mean, then we could have just visually inspected while we're already there for the job, or 5 minutes into it, cause it's essentially the same thing, you're just not putting it on a piece of paper. Cause I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could, I know if you look at it right then and there, it's all preventative cost for what's not going on with what it is. But wouldn't it just make more sense to have a follow-up date as well?
What I always tell my customers is, call me when winter ends, like the first week of spring, because that's when plumbing tends to take a shit during the winter when it's cold.
I just have to ask you a question. Does that, if you do it that day, does that take it away from the future, plumbing inspection?
Yeah, so the way we used to do it was, like, right before they're expired, like 12 months later. But the way, we want to do it moving forward is just doing it as you sell it to provide, more value and opportunity to
I mean, because realistically,
get
you're
new opportunities.
getting that 15% off and they're gonna call you back within that year. to do that 15%.
And what we've been finding out is it's not happening. We call them in 12 months. They don't answer the phone. We'll call you back. I don't have time right now, and we can never get y'all back out there.
Yeah, so we're missing a big opportunity.
Yeah, you're at the home right then and there, so we want to be able to perform probably more than, I would probably say 60%, they're not even getting their inspections because they're not calling to schedule them, and then they're not calling us back, and then it expires. And so we tried that for a year, it didn't work. So ideally, Ethan, what you're thinking was my same thought process. It just, on their end, to get them to cooperate, it doesn't work. So the better way of doing it is giving them that value while you're there and taking a little bit extra time, running through it with the customer. That way you're building relationships with the customer. That's why I like doing it with the customer, because while you're doing that, y'all are building a relationship. If you're doing it by yourself, you're not really building a relationship with them. And then, they may be leaning like you're like, what are they doing over in the bathroom, or what are they trying to work up, or are they over there trying to break something, you know what I mean? So you're building that relationship. It allows for, you to be in the home and just continue to build relationships. This thing's all about relationships. So does that make sense? Understand why we would want to do it while we're there? Because we may not get that second chance. So we want to make sure if we're selling to friends and family and they're getting their inspection, we want to make sure they're getting it. Instead of doing it 40% of the time, now we're doing 100% of the inspections. So
Yeah, so there's going to be some scenarios where it's late in the day, y'all are tired, you don't want to do it, but always take the ownership to reschedule that for the next day or the next week or just soon to get back out there and do it. And remember too, if you're thinking that, well, by doing this, now I'm going to work super late because I already do 5 jobs a day and things. Our goal is to get you 2 jobs a day, and those be the only 2 jobs you have to do that day because you're doing this so well. But just remember, we're gonna be training the customer service department, the dispatch too, to where as long as you are communicating properly with Reagan and you're communicating that, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna be here another hour or 2 doing inspections and additional work, we're gonna try to take a lot of that workload. We can't do it 100% of the time, but I want to promise you that we're gonna work together as a team to make sure that if you're truly putting your best foot forward, that we're able to move the calls from you having to work, like till 8, 9 o'clock at night because you're adding so much value. So it's not a promise, but I'm saying we're working on it, and we're still in the service business, right? So, but what I want y'all to do is put your best foot forward and don't let that hinder you. Just make sure that you're communicating properly the time that you need to be on the job. Did I speak right on that, Mitchell?
Yep, 100%. That's right.
Okay, because we're a team. We're a team. It's give and take. And if you ever feel like you're being taken advantage of on that, that's when you need to talk to Joe about it, and make sure that we're not feeling that way, because I don't want to be training you on this thing and then you getting the other end of the spectrum from the service department. All right. So here's the last slide. We'll rock and roll this. All I really want to do is talk about, here's some techniques to bringing this into your building value statement. And number 4, as you're setting up, as you're seeking to understand, then to be understood, you're asking questions, you're building relationships. When you get to that point where it's time to share, hey, the great thing about Sunrise Plumbing is we do these different things. Here are some ways that you can talk about setting yourself up for doing the plumbing inspection. So I just made these up, so your style may be different, guys. But I put number 1 here. As a part of your service today, I'll be performing a 5-point plumbing inspection on your home to ensure everything is up to par. Would you like me to come get you before I start to do the inspection, so that we can go through and do the inspection together? So once again, I said as a part of your service, it's not free. There's value to it. It's a part of your service today. And then I also just assumed that we're going to do it. Hey, before I start, do you want me to come get you so we can walk through together? So I didn't ask, hey, do you want it or not want it? I let them know, hey, this is a part of your service. Do you want to go along with me to do some education while we do it? So once again, all assuming, all rocking and rolling. Number 2, as a part of your friends and family plan, I will be performing a plumbing inspection on your home plumbing system to ensure everything is good to go. Once again, I didn't say to upsell you, anything else. Would you like me to come get you before I start so we can do the inspection together? All right, another way to do it. The great thing about Sunrise Plumbing is that we believe in educating the homeowner, empowering you to make decisions on today's repairs and preventative maintenance or upgrades for the future. I mean, how can you say no to that? In doing so, we will be completing a 5-point plumbing inspection, and you could ask if they want to go along with you and things like that. But once again, it's not about selling. Right there, I made it about educating the homeowner and then empowering them to make decisions on all their options today. Any questions so far? Number 4, here's a simple one, guys. I like simple. Are you interested in a plumbing inspection today to ensure your plumbing system is working efficiently? So once again, I'm kind of more asking the question, are you interested in it? And a majority of the time, homeowners are going to say, yeah. I mean, especially if it's part of my service. Number 5, when is the last time your plumbing, or when was the last time your plumbing system was inspected? They're going to be like, didn't even realize that was a thing. And then you're going to be like, oh, sweet. So are you interested in having that done today? It's a part of your service.
That's great.
So the homeowner is going to be like, yeah, dude, let's rock and roll that. So anybody have a different style of doing these they want to share with the team?
I like 3 and 5 for sure.
Okay. So we got a few minutes, read through these. If one stands out, take a few minutes to write it down in your paper. Remember, we're just sparking the interest. I want to make sure we're not saying, hey, it's free, because there's no value to free. I would say, hey, as a part of your service today, I'll be providing a 5-point inspection or whatever that looks like, depending on what it is. If you're already selling a friends and family plan, you're going to be selling it with the inspection. But the 5-point, because once again, like if you do that in step 4 and then you sell the job, the customer is going to say, hey man, before you go, what about that 5-point inspection you were going to do? And sometimes you're just tired and you forgot and they want to have it. Sometimes you'll do the 5-point inspection before you present options with them. And next thing you know, you go out there to replace a stop and now you got a water heater and a homeowner shutoff valve and you're bundling a deal together and they're like, you're saving $500 by doing it all today. A lot of times they're going to buy that, so. All right. So Mitchell, help me out. Anybody who's done writing, what's one takeaway from today that you're going to take on to What's one takeaway, Andrew?
Number 5.
Devin's got it.
All right, go ahead, Devin.
Home inspection, number 5, that's really finesse. I like that one, like you really can just wiggle your way in, basically, where they have no choice. That's the way you do it.
All right, you like number 5, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead, Dylan.
The 5-point inspection, that's an inspection that'll kind of blanket all of our customers. Get our average ticket up and, give us more opportunity to, educate the customer and kind of build that relationship.
Better service all the way around.
Like it. Go ahead, Jordan.
Is this about this or the whole thing in general? The whole thing?
Just anything. Just one thing that really stood out to you that you're going to take and apply to what you're doing.
See it first to understand before you can be understood. So fill out the customer before you explain what you're doing.
That's great.
That's good, Jordan.
Good be there. What you got, Andrew?
I'd probably say mine's a 5-point inspection as well.
Powerful.
It'll go in
It's
there.
actually a really great tool, man. It's next level, in my opinion. It's really next level. I mean, it's that much more value. So when you give them pricing, they're already understanding what kind of company we are and what's going to come with that. Most of the time when I hire somebody and they come to my house, they barely act like they want to do what they're even there to do, much less than, you know what I mean? Like, it's mind blowing. And I want to spend money with them. I'm wanting to do this and do that and want them to, hey, what about this? And I seen this online. And it's like pulling teeth to try to get them to tell me anything about it or sell it to me. Like I'm trying, literally pulling out cash and they're not wanting to take it. It's like,
Yeah, let me go to that one here that
oh,
you pull out cash.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll put you all in Amazon.
Well, imagine I had a guy contractor come to my house last night to look at building me a back porch area. He didn't bring a tape measure with him. Yeah, he asked for my tape measure. I started laughing. I was like, "You gotta be effing kidding me!" Like you're coming to measure my house and you have no tape measure. So I'm probably not going to hire that guy just because of that reason.
That's so embarrassing.
Y'all are like top 1% doing this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
He at least walk it off a foot.
Probably so unprofessional. So unprofessional.
That's so embarrassing.
You're not buying from that guy, are you, Dan?
No. I got more guys coming out, but
They bring their own tape measures.
yeah, it's little things, guys, like that. Like we don't want to be asking to borrow stuff from homeowners and things. Like we should be prepared, even if they're offering like step stools and things. Like if you don't have that on your truck, you're not ready, drop cloths and stuff. I mean, that's all part of just creating 5-star service. So just keep, it's your own little business in your truck. You can make as much money as you want. And all these techniques we're teaching helps you make money. And as you can see, like this last few months of training has been all very foundational. We're working through all the steps, but I'm just teaching you things that you should really, you should just do it naturally. You should be practicing it every day, because the next level of training is going to be like different techniques on sales, overcoming objections and stuff. So it's going to be a lot higher level stuff. So I just want to make sure that everybody's got the basics that we've been teaching. And these basics are awesome. Just like Jordan said, seek first to understand. If you just do that, you're going to sell 99% of your jobs, because most customers never have an experience where somebody cares enough about them in the trades to ask questions on what is their needs, wants, and concerns. So just remember, guys, we're out of time here. Be somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody. So no matter what level, who you're talking to, your customer, your coworker, your spouse, your girlfriend, your kids, your friends, a stranger in the street, rise above, guys. Be that example. Be that example. Live by the values you have. Make people feel important. Sometimes I have to remind myself of that, especially if I'm having a conversation that's inconvenient to my own personal schedule. I got to be present And I got to remember that this is the most important conversation I'm having is the one I'm currently having. So always remember that, because it's so easy to get caught up thinking about other things. All right, guys, so we're rocking level 2. We did friends and family plan. We talked about building confidence. Please, 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 guys, continue learning your parts, your services, the things you offer your customers. Remember features and benefits. We talked about that a little bit. Please be studying that. We did building options. We talked about presenting the best to the least. We talked about presenting options. And then we talked about home inspections, which is probably going to be a 2-part series because I want to do some role play on it. So please write down your building value, how you're going to ask your customer. And then I'm coming down in a few weeks and we're going to have a long, awesome role play session. So y'all be ready for that. It's going to be incredible and ready to rock. Remember, guys, we're built for the trades. We're proud to be Americans, tradesmen. We always provide quality work. And if the customer doesn't want to pay for the quality work, wants you to cut corners, remember, it's your name, it's your reputation. It's Sunrise reputation on the line, but it's you particularly as a plumber, as a licensed plumber. Always serving over selling, guys. The difference is we're listening and we're providing things the customer tells us they want. We're not offering things because it's just comfortable to us. All right. Always live with integrity. Just doing the right thing when no one's looking. That's also honoring your word, always progressing. And then last but not least, all built on a foundation of faith, guys. Whether you believe in God or not, for me, it's faith in God, but for us, it's faith in ourselves. It's faith in the vision of Sunrise Plumbing. It's believing in things you can't see. And we have to have that confidence and that faith as ourselves as technicians in order to be successful. So